There's something special about those classic Nintendo games we played as a kid. Booting up your SNES to play Super Mario or The Legend of Zelda was just some good innocent fun. Or was it? While our favorite classic Nintendo games we played as children all seemed like rays of sunshine, they were chock full of hidden, dark, and tragic backstories. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the gamer and ring that bell to become a part of our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, here are some Nintendo secrets that just might ruin your childhood. Peach and Bowser time. We all know the classic Super Mario plot by now. Bowser kidnaps Peach, Mario hears of the news and goes on a long adventure to rescue the princess. While this plot has been beaten to hell and repeated in almost every game, we just love it for its simplicity. While the plot is definitely iconic, it does have its fair share of plot holes. There are so many to get into, but let's just focus on one that'll probably ruin your childhood. When Bowser kidnaps Peach, we're led to believe he takes her to his castle and holds her prisoner. But is that really what's going on? Princess Peach never has any guards to fight Bowser away when he comes for her, so maybe she actually likes to be taken away and sees it as a bit of a vacation from her boring duties as the leader of the Mushroom Kingdom. With Peach being kidnapped by Bowser countless times, they must have gotten quite close. In fact, they may have become very, very close, if you know what we mean. If you're still somehow not catching our drift, we think they may be more than friends. That's right, it's possible that Bowser and Peach are lovers who use this kidnapping scheme as a way to spend some precious time together. Yeah, we're still gonna think that Peach is locked up in a cage the whole time, thank you very much. Down the hatch. Super Mario Kart was the game that introduced us to the rage-inducing, friendship-ending karting series. All that aside, the game is fun for the whole family with its wacky characters, colorful graphics, and competitive gameplay. The game was a huge success on the Super Nintendo around the world, but Super Mario Kart wasn't exactly the same in every region. Japanese audiences got a more mature version of the title, which depicts two of the game's playable characters getting drunk. A championship win is always worth celebrating, but sometimes drivers may take things a little too far. During the ceremony sequence that follows the conclusion of a cup, Princess Peach and Bowser can be seen holding a bottle of champagne. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, since usually the drivers on the podium shake up their bottles of champagne and spray it on each other to celebrate. But that's not what Peach and Bowser do. Instead, they chug the whole bottle in one gulp before looking as drunk as humanly possible. Of course, this had to be changed for the US and European release, where they just throw the bottle instead of downing it. There's nothing that'll ruin your childhood more than two beloved kids' icons getting plastered. We thought you were classier than that, Princess Peach. As for Bowser, we guess it was to be expected, really. A true Final Fantasy. Yes, we know Final Fantasy wasn't developed by Nintendo, but it got its start on Nintendo consoles, so it's a Nintendo classic in our book. Also, let's be honest, Final Fantasy is one of the coolest titles in gaming. But have you ever wondered where Square Enix actually got the name from? Well, it didn't come from a happy place, that's for sure. The name derived from the studio's own personal problems. After some failed gaming endeavors that dampened the spirits of everyone in the company, they got together for one final push for success. Square Enix gave their next title the name of Final Fantasy because they thought it was going to be the final game they ever developed. Following gaming flops like Rad Racer and King's Knight, Square Enix were on their last legs before Final Fantasy. However, upon release, it was met with above-average sales and started the RPG franchise that we have all come to know and love. It's rather sad to think that the developers were getting ready to close up shop, especially considering the heights they've reached since then. We can't even fathom living in a world without Final Fantasy, but luckily for us, you can sometimes find the most beautiful things in the darkest of places. Next time you boot up the first game in the franchise, try not to think about the depressing origins of the game's name. Mushroom Mania. One of the staples of the Super Mario Bros. Games is the power-ups. From fire flowers to Tanuki suits, there are so many to discover throughout the franchise, but the most recognizable item of them all is definitely the mushroom. Everyone knows about these items, and they definitely know just how addictive they are in Super Mario Bros. They grant the player the ability to do the impossible. Double their height in a matter of seconds and produce some superhuman feats. Well, it's based off of a real hallucinogenic mushroom after all, and no, it's actually not based on magic mushrooms. The fungus found in the hit platformer is fashioned after Amanita muscaria mushrooms, which are known to make users hallucinate. They're officially classed as poisonous, but can be consumed under the right conditions. The mushrooms look exactly like their real-life counterpart with a matching red and white exterior. In the games, we even see these mushrooms on the heads of toads, so we'd guess they're hallucinating 24/7. Well then, having one of the main items in the game inspired by a hallucinogenic mushroom isn't very PG, to say the least. Just remember that next time you're picking one up in the game. Or you could try to pretend you never heard about any of this at all to protect your childhood innocence. Scandalous stereotyping. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out has its fair share of insanely well-hidden Easter eggs. Seriously, 20 years after the game has been released, players are still finding new strategies to defeat the most difficult opponents. But we're bringing the game up for a different reason here. Its initial stereotyping of one of its boxers. Everyone knows Soda Popinski as the Coca-Cola addicted fighter who could pack one hell of a punch, but his original name was something a little bit more offensive. In Super Punch-Out, Soda Popinski was known as Vodka Drunkinski. Yes, that was his actual name in the game, and yes, he's from Moscow, which is why plenty of Russians were not too pleased with it. We honestly have no idea what Nintendo was thinking when they decided to call a boxer Vodka Drunkinski, but imagine the ruckus that would have ensued if this was done today. Of course, vodka did originate from Russia, and plenty of Russians enjoy a good shot of vodka, but using a boxer to make a joke about the whole thing was in poor taste, no pun intended. Despite having the unflattering moniker in Super Punch-Out, Nintendo wisely made the change to Soda Popinski for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Oh, Nintendo, you guys really liked to push the envelope back in the day. Thank goodness all your video games are family-friendly now, because this definitely wouldn't fly today. Cut and paste. There are plenty of moments in the Super Mario Bros. Franchise that leave us scratching our heads, and this one is no different. If you look at the background of the original Super Mario Bros., it all looks the same. There are cut and paste visuals all over the place. The clouds and bushes depicted in the game are the exact same shape. It's a little trippy to say the least, and we didn't even get our hands on those mushrooms you find all over the Mushroom Kingdom. The reason we say the clouds and bushes are so similar is because, well, they have the exact same design as each other. Yes, they may differ in color, but that's literally the only noticeable difference between the two. If you look closely, you'll see that they share the same outline, the same shadow effects, and the same detail. Come on, Nintendo, we know the game is a cult classic, but you could have put a little more effort into the background. Who are we kidding, though? With only 8 bits to work with at the time, they probably couldn't make the background more sophisticated due to a memory issue. Thank goodness they're not shaped like the hallucinogenic mushrooms, or we'd really have something to kick off about. Rockman. The words Mega Man mean a lot to many gamers in the West, but the words Rockman? Not so much. Most people actually have no idea who Rockman is, but it's the Japanese Mega Man. It makes sense too if you think about it. His sister is Roll, so together they're rock and roll. Get it? Proto Man's name in Japan is Blues, and there are 2 characters known as bass and treble, so if you haven't noticed, Capcom decided to go with music puns for days in the Rockman franchise. Surprisingly, the reason why the name was changed in the West is because Rockman was seen as offensive. How is Rockman offensive, you may ask? Well, rock is slang for an illegal substance in America, prompting the developers to change the name to Mega Man. As you know, Rockman was still the name given to the Japanese version, as there are no negative connotations of the word in the land of the rising sun. You'd have to be pretty darn sensitive to have a problem with the original title, but we guess it's better to be safe than sorry was Capcom's mentality on this one. Plus, Mega Man is so much catchier. Lavender Town music. Pokemon is just harmless fun, full of cute monsters, colorful visuals, and innocent themes, right? Wrong! Well, there's no doubt that it's pretty kid-friendly, but some people have really huge, vivid imaginations that we couldn't ever dream of owning. Those with large imaginations believe that the game is cursed and literally programmed to make people go insane. All of this came from the small Lavender Town. There's no denying that this town is pretty creepy. The purple color and the giant Pokemon tower hosting the graves of hundreds of deceased Pokemon just give the town an uncomfortable aura, but nothing will make you more uncomfortable than the dreaded music. In Pokemon Red and Green's Lavender Town, the song that plays once you enter the town is said to have made players in Japan off themselves after hearing it, leading to this odd but very persistent myth surrounding the game. If we're being honest, it is a really creepy song that got changed for the worldwide release to include less high-pitched, headache-inducing sounds, but we seriously doubt there's any validity to the rumor. There's no way people actually took their own lives because of a song in a video game. But if you believe in creepypastas, this is one of the most terrifying of them all. Wow, there you have it. We don't think we'll ever look at these games the same again. What's a childhood-ruining secret you've discovered in your favorite Nintendo game? What classic Nintendo games did you play as a kid? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to The Gamer to keep up to date with all things gaming. Thanks for watching.